if meat were illegal, or if the whole world were like vegan, how would we survive?
By eating plants. We just turn the slaughterhouses into factories that make vegan burgers instead. Companies are seeing the change in society already happening, and they're adapting. They're starting to sell their own vegan products, and more vegan businesses are opening up that are entirely vegan, right? So they'll have plenty of time to see that the change is coming and to change their product line before we make a new law.
May I ask, why do you think it should be illegal?
Yeah. Do you think that dog slaughterhouses should be illegal?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. And just for the same reasons, just all animals. I'm trying to not be speciesist. Like, I want to be an anti-speciesist. Speciesism is like saying, well, it's wrong to kill dogs, but fine to kill pigs. But that's like racism, speciesism. There's no real difference between a dog and a pig. They all feel pain and pleasure, and they want to live. Doesn't matter what body somebody's born into. Pigs are actually smarter than dogs, but that wouldn't matter. Does that make sense? So for the same reason that you,
I think that.
yeah, for the same reason that you support making dog meat illegal, we support making all meat illegal because all animals equally want to live.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, but like at the same time, I do agree.
Just to be clear, though, it's not just factory farming that's bad for the environment. It's animal farming that's bad for the environment. Even if it's like free range, which, by the way, they put that label on there just to make you feel better about buying eggs or milk or meat. It's not actually humane. It's usually not actually free range. We've done investigations undercover in these humane farms, and we find rampant animal cruelty every time. And all of those animals, whether they're free range or whatever, are killed when they're children. They're all sent to the same slaughterhouse. If we were to like turn the factory farms into like genuine free range farms where the animals have a decent amount of room to move around instead of being trapped in cages, there wouldn't be enough land on the earth for us to do that because we raise, feed, and kill 70 billion land animals every year for food that we don't need to eat across the world. That's 70 billion. So there's not enough land for all that, and it destroys the environment even more because those animals that are like grass fed and stuff, they stay alive a few more. It takes a few more months to fatten them up. Instead, so they stay alive a little bit longer, which means that releases more greenhouse gas emissions into the air and destroys the environment. They're fed longer because when you feed an animal grains instead of like grass or whatever like they normally would eat, when you feed them grains in a factory farm, they get bigger quicker, so you can kill them sooner. So the longer an animal stays alive, the worse it is for the environment, and they stay alive longer on uh, free range farms. Humans are driving a million animal species to extinction, either already, like we already have, or are in the process of.
Right.
And a lot of the reason for that is industrialization in general, but mostly is for meat, dairy, and eggs. The problem that farmers run into when they're trying to raise livestock, like cows and pigs and chickens on farms, is that wild predators know that you're farming animals and they want to eat your animals, right? So instead of putting up proper fencing, because that would cost money, I guess instead of putting up proper fencing to protect the animals that you're farming from getting eaten by wolves and shit, is to shoot the wolves, right? So the farmers will either do it themselves or will pay somebody else to come like kill all the wolves in the area or set up, bear traps and leg hold traps for wolves and coyotes to get caught in the wild near the farm. And so that kills off all the predators, and then the herbivores start to overpopulate, like the deer, the wild deer and stuff. They start to overpopulate because there's not enough predators around to like keep their numbers in check, and so then the deer eat up too much plant foods and start to starve because there's no food left because they ate up all the food, right? So we need to just leave nature alone unless we're like actually helping nature without hurting it. But so yeah, we need to just like, if we didn't raise animals in the first place, predators wouldn't want to kill them to eat them, so we wouldn't need to kill the predators and stuff like that, and messing with the ecology. And also though, like or if they would just put up proper fencing, then they wouldn't have to worry about the predators and stuff also. But yeah, the other part about that is the deforestation, right? So
Right.
70% of the Amazon rainforest is deforested to make room for cattle to make beef, right? So these farmers are cutting down or burning. Remember all the Amazon fires, the rainforest fires that happened a couple of years ago, and in Australia and stuff. These fires often happen.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
intentionally set by farmers to clear out all the trees, burn and cut down the trees to make room for soybeans to feed to livestock. So 75% or 77% of the soybeans that are grown are fed to livestock. And 70% of the deforestation is to make room for plant foods to feed to all these animals that we eat. In the process of cutting down the forest or burning it, we're also driving the extinction of a bunch of species of wild animals who lived in those trees. And the stuff we're doing to the oceans is just ridiculous. Like the amount of plastic in the ocean, and most of the plastic in the ocean is fishing nets. Like these giant fishing boats will just leave their giant fishing nets in the ocean, or and it's just disgusting. And so there's big like trash
There are already gonna
patches.
be like ocean dead zones or something.
Yeah, there's already as ocean dead zones, and we factory farm fish also. Uh, all the fish are not wild caught. They're which is also cruel to wild catch fish. Like they don't want to suffocate,
Right.
right? And but yeah, I don't know if it's most fish, but a ton of fish are factory farmed in these pools of just like fish shit. Just like disgusting brown water. These giant pools on like the side of the ocean, right? It's disgusting. Look up
Yeah.
fish factory farm, and like they're breathing in, like drinking in all of this manure water, and there's diseases in the water, and they're eating that, and then we're eating their bodies that have all this. First of all, money is not a good reason for killing animals. Like if that's the only reason, like people making money off of it, like people make money off of all kinds of terrible stuff. That doesn't make it okay just because it's an industry, right? So businesses change, as societies change, right? Like we used to watch movies on VCR, like a tape, right? And then in the 90s, DVDs came along and replaced VHS, and nobody watched VCR stuff anymore. It was all DVDs. And now we got rid of DVDs and we're doing Netflix and all this streaming online, right? But nobody, worries so much about the DVD manufacturers and stuff, because industry changes and people have to adapt and evolve. And all of that's just not a justification for killing animals needlessly when they don't mean us any harm. Yeah, it would be worse to torture an animal and kill them slowly than to raise them, relatively, comparatively better and then kill them quickly and painlessly. But the thing is it's still mean to take someone's life from them when they clearly want to live. The farmers kill the animals when they're children because it's not financially profitable to keep feeding them for years and years to let them have a nice, long, happy life. They kill them as soon as they reach slaughter weight. So as soon as these animals have eaten enough food to put on enough pounds to be profitable to sell their bodies as a product, and anything past that moment would be just a waste of food costs for the farmer, so he's not going to do that. So the natural lifespan of a pig is just like a dog, about 12 years old, but pigs are killed when they're only 6 months old. Um, and I just see that as like killing a puppy, right? And then cows, the natural lifespan of a cow is 25 years old, but they're killed when they're only 18 months old, about a year and a half old, right? And then birds, the chickens, right, for meat, their natural lifespan is 10 years old, but those birds are killed when they're 1 month old, right? Because that's when they get big enough. So how old are the animals? Like, because I mean, it'd be different. Like if like look, I had a dog who was my buddy, Enigma, and he was a pit bull, and he was really cool, and he lived to be 14 years old, and then I put him to sleep because his quality of life had deteriorated to the point where his life was no longer worth living for him. He wasn't having a good time. He couldn't walk. He was vomiting all the time. He couldn't control his bowels. He was really sick. So I gave him a nice, peaceful, like a death of just going to sleep, at the vet. And then I had no desire to eat him at that point, right? And just like I have no desire to eat any animals or anybody, right? But if I had, that would have been, well, way less morally questionable. Like if I'd have eaten my dog, like we're not so concerned about eating meat as much as we are concerned about killing animals, right? So again, how old are these animals when they're killed?
So we call them like layers for the chickens. So they're usually about 3 to 4 years old.
Okay. So yeah, so with that example, I would just say that that's still cruel to take their lives from them when they still had like 7 years of life available to them. It's killing someone when they're like in the prime of their life. They have friends and families that they enjoy hanging out with, right? Like just like a little kid. Animals, I see animals as being like little kids. That they're not as smart as us. They can't really protect themselves from us. They're vulnerable. They're weaker. They're not, So we can abuse the power we hold over them and exploit their vulnerability, or we can use our power responsibly and protect them and not cause them needless harm and suffering and death, right?
Like people don't know more about like child labor than they know about like veganism.
I don't know.
Like,
That's kind of hard to say.
If you look at like almost everything in your house, right?
Yeah.
About 50% of it is probably from child labor. If you look at it.
It could be.
Like,
yeah. Yeah.
Like, your couches, your phones, everything.
Yeah,
so
and
it's sad to see that people don't know that, but they're focusing on like veganism.
Yeah, you're right. Like, we live in a world that causes harm to humans and animals, and our goal is to reduce that amount of suffering and exploitation to both humans and animals as much as we can, right? And so we need to talk about all this stuff. And you're bringing up a great point about sweatshops and child labor and stuff and slave labor and worker conditions in general, if you ask me, under capitalism is exploitative, right? So I'm fighting against all that. I'm a human rights activist as well. And and so yeah, I think that but we can fight for multiple causes, maybe not like right at the exact same moment, but like, throughout the day, like I can make a post or have a conversation or give a presentation on Monday about animal rights. And then on Tuesday, I can give a presentation or a post about or share a video about women's rights. And then the next day, do something for gay rights and then black rights and so on and so forth, right? And that's what I try to do for the most part, try to vary things up. I do focus mostly on the animals because they're so underrepresented in our society. Like there's already a lot of people fighting for human rights issues, and including worker rights and against sweatshops and stuff. It needs more representation, but I feel like the animals are even less represented, and that it's only in recent times that the animals have been starting to get a voice because we watch all these slaughterhouse videos and we get fed up with this and we start raising the alarm bell, right? But also, the amount of victims is staggering. So we raise, feed, and kill 70 billion land animals every year across the world for food that we don't need to eat. Right? We don't need to eat animal products. And so 70 billion land animals, that's 10 times the human population, okay, that we kill every year. Right? So just in the sense of the number of victims, it's exponentially, worth us focusing on, or some people focusing on. I think it's good for some people, some activists, to focus on like Black Lives Matter, which I support, and hopefully every now and then they'll talk about feminism and animal rights and anti-capitalism and whatever else I care about, and then in the same way, I think it's okay for certain activists to focus mostly on animal rights and then dedicate some time to other like human rights issues as well. Does that sound like fair? Or
Yep. But what about like food chains and stuff, right?
Okay.
Like let's say like you guys actually do it, right? You guys get so much vegan people in power, and you guys are making so that it's illegal to eat animals, right?
Yeah.
Let's say, right? And let's say that actually happens, right?
Okay.
like, what's gonna happen? Isn't like one gonna overpopulate and the other one's gonna like be close to extinct or become extinct?
So the food chain idea is more like applicable to like wild animals out in nature, predatory and prey relationships and stuff like that. Humans have kind of like, removed ourselves from that situation by creating these societies and where we kind of remove ourselves from nature to some degree, right? But in any case, as far as like the animals that we raise and kill and eat, like cows, pigs, chickens, that kind of thing, those animals, we would just stop breeding them into existence. Because right now, that's what we're doing, is breeding them into existence for the purpose of slaughter so that we can sell them and eat them, right? So instead, we're saying let's stop breeding them into existence. So that we'll have less of them to, worry about, less of them to feed, rehouse, rehome, stuff like that. And it's going to be a gradual progression. It's not like the world is going to go vegan overnight, right? So it's going to start with like small progressive cities and then spread to other big cities. They'll start making new laws to outlaw slaughterhouses and ban meat, dairy, and eggs, and enact an animal bill of rights, right? That kind of thing. So then it'll spread to other cities, and then an entire state, and then other states will join on, and then it'll become a federal law, right? And just like kind of what happened with the gay rights movement, right? That's what I'm anticipating will happen. So and what we're kind of seeing already. So, like with the California fur ban, worked that same way. We banned the sale of fur, starting with small progressive cities, and then bigger cities, and then took over the whole state. And then other states are like, oh, hey, California did it, we can do it too. The animals shouldn't be killed for their fur. We don't need to do that, right? So, anyways, and similarly, we don't need to kill animals for their flesh, right? So, no difference. But yeah, go ahead.
Like I understand, like with like the animal testing. I think that's wrong for animals and using them for their skin. But in my opinion, I believe that humans should eat meat because we survived on it so long before we discovered we could actually eat plants. If you know what I mean.
But just because we've done something for a long time doesn't make it okay, right? Like if we did it out of necessity, that's one thing. But like you said, like I think you were saying, like we don't need to do it today, so it's a different situation. Like if I have to kill a human in order to survive, that's different than me just killing somebody because I enjoy the screams they make, right? So different situations. If your survival's at stake, that's one thing. But also, again, like our humanity has been oppressing women and gay people for thousands of years. That doesn't make it okay. That doesn't mean we should keep doing it.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
There's a victim.
Yeah, I saw videos, right, of you guys like going into restaurants and like destroying the stuff there. Do you do that stuff or not? You don't support the vegans to do that? And like destroy the food and stuff?
Well, what do you mean destroy? I haven't seen anything like that. I've watched
like I've seen like videos of like the vegans eating stuff and they go into like restaurants and they like destroy like the plates with the food on it and stuff.
I've never seen any vegan protests where they're destroying stuff. I've participated in like 200 protests for animals. And yeah, we go inside of grocery stores and restaurants. We don't break anything or hurt anybody. It's nonviolent. It's really important to be nonviolent because that's what's more ethical. We're also trying to spread a message of peace, right? And it just makes us look better to, to be respectful and nonviolent. It could be viewed as disrespectful to be coming in and doing a protest, but we got right to freedom of speech and the right to protest, and the animals deserve this. And if you were being tortured and murdered in a factory farm or slaughterhouse, you'd hope that somebody would stand up and take the issue seriously and spread the word, right? But yeah, so like it's good. Like we need to communicate that people should be angry about the situation, but we try to have like anger at the system, not individuals. Like anger at animal cruelty, but love and compassion and understanding for the people who are caught up in that system. Because we used to be as well. I ate animals for 26 years, but I wish somebody had pressed me to really think about this and to take it seriously and to be a true voice for the victims and to scream as loud as they're screaming in the slaughterhouses.
Yeah, I understand. When you became vegan, did you like feed your dog vegan also? Or?
For once I went vegan, then yeah, I gave my dog vegan dog food.
I know a friend who gave his dog, like, when he became vegan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gave his dog, like, vegan food also, like, vegan dog food, and the dog ended up dying because of it. So I just want to know if you think.
Okay, I would just be skeptical of that. Sometimes people will misconstrue, like they'll correlation with causation. So in science, like just because two things happen around the same time doesn't mean necessarily that one thing caused the other thing. They could have just by coincidence happened at the same time and could be unrelated. So instead of trusting one story like that, which we don't know the details of, we don't have any science behind that situation. So instead, what I'm posting in stage one text is a bunch of scientific articles about the research done on vegan dog and cat food. So there's like 8 different links I just posted in stage one text. So I don't expect you to read through all that right now, but check it out later on. But yeah, dogs can be dogs and cats can be vegan so long as they're getting enough food and all the nutrients that they need. They'll be fine. And there's a lot of brands that are selling vegan dog and cat food that would be getting sued if it was killing pets.
Okay. Well, that's all I have to ask.
Okay.
But thanks a lot. I learned a lot in like a couple hours I've been here.
Awesome.
So this will really help with my PowerPoint presentation I have tomorrow.
Okay.
Activism.
Nice. That's very cool. I would just recommend that you watch the video that I'm about to post in stage one text. It's a 5-minute video on YouTube, and it has 6 million views, and it's called Dairy is Scary.
Because they're having a hard time going vegan, and they've tried everything, but because of their sensory issues, they're struggling a bit. Do you have any ideas of what they can do to still be vegan and save animals?
Okay, great question. So first I would say that if a person is in a real situation where they actually can't be vegan, or rather that they can't avoid eating animal products, like they don't have access to plant foods, or if there were some medical condition or whatever, I don't think there is, but if there were, a situation, then that's not our target audience. I just want to make that clear that we're not trying to make you feel bad if you're in a really bad spot. Just do the best you can with your life and that kind of thing. And even if for some reason you had to eat animals, you would be a rare case. So you could still advocate for animals to people. You could still basically be an activist and just spread the word and share slaughterhouse videos on social media and stuff to let other people know that, hey, they can go vegan, and so they should go vegan, even if you can't, right? So if they can go vegan, they should go vegan. In fact, they must go vegan, right? So, but the rules don't apply in those other situations. Or if we were stranded on a desert island and we had nothing else to eat, if you ate an animal in a situation like that, we would still consider you vegan, because the definition of veganism means to, reduce or eliminate animal exploitation and cruelty as much as possible and practicable, which just means don't kill unnecessarily, don't kill just for pleasure, right? But if your survival is dependent on it, if your mental health or something like that was dependent on it, and a lot of times people will say, oh, yeah, I have to do this, but they don't actually have to. But if you did, then that's a different situation. But having said that, I would say, sorry, what was the question? We went on some big rant.
No, that was a great response. So yeah, I think you covered it really well. So I feel for them. They don't want to eat animals. Of course, I get the feeling they're definitely, their heart is vegan. And what they're struggling with is they don't want to eat animals, but most of the alternatives, they have trouble keeping it down. They fill it up.
Okay, so yeah, if it's just like a taste or sensory kind of thing, like textures and stuff, yeah, sure. So I have a friend named Dale who is a cartoonist for The Simpsons. Pretty cool, and he made a drawing of me with a megaphone and stuff. It's pretty cool. I look like
that's awesome.
Yeah, I look like a Simpsons character. It's really cool. But I'll actually post that in stage one text right now. But anyways, But but Dale is allergic to like a bunch of foods, right? And it's really sad. And he has to like explain all this to his friends before they go out to a restaurant, so they can decide on which restaurant. And he has to question the waiter, and then the waiter has to get the manager because they don't know what all the minuscule ingredients of every dish and stuff. So like. So he's allergic to like 50 different things, but he makes it work anyways. Like he's still vegan because he cares so much about the animals and he knows how badly they're being harmed. And so he just goes out of his way to make it work and makes a little sacrifice. Like we should all make little sacrifices if we can. And unfortunately, some of us will have to make bigger sacrifices than others. But there's a lot of food out there. So we got let's see. We got rice, pasta, fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, beans, bread, and then we got vegan burgers, vegan pizza, vegan chicken, vegan sausage, vegan cheese, vegan ice cream. So, so I would assume that like you'd be able to find something in that pile that would be delicious and nutritious and affordable and all that, So you might just be needing to get creative or do a search for some new vegan recipes. Look up Happy Cow is an app. Happy Cow will tell you where there are vegan restaurants near you or restaurants that have vegan options near you. Or you could just do a Google search, like vegan restaurants near me, and it'll tell you that also. You can do a Google search maybe for like vegan recipes for food sensitivity or whatever the issue may be. You can always do a Google search for vegan foods high in iron or calcium.
They definitely sound like they've got a vegan heart to me. And,
nice.
And I just heard from them. They just say thank you so much. And
okay,
yeah,
cool.
From me too, Chase. Thank you for your advocacy and for making time for us to ask some of these questions. We appreciate everything you do.
My pleasure. Anytime.
I've been spending the past like 2.5 hours listening and hoping I get up here.
Cool.
More in the direction of harming other humans instead of animals.
Why? Because like what we're trying to do is promote anti-speciesism and animal rights.
They are harming not only animals, but other humans too, which are animals.
Yeah.
But
sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, you make a good point. I would just say that, like, yeah, you can potentially get people to stop eating animals quicker by talking about how a plant-based diet is better for the environment or better for their health or something like this. Maybe. But even if that is the case, there's a lot of recidivism that's like returning back to your old behavior when they stop eating animals, not for the ethics, but for their own health or for the environment. They can cheat on their diet because there's no ethical imperative. There's nothing like super strong that's motivating them, like a victim who they realize they've been paying for people to stab a baby animal, right? Like that resonates with people in a different way to where not only do they stop eating animal products, they're more likely to stick to that and also become activists who will inspire change in other people. So there's that. So I think it's actually probably like I'm glad that people are promoting a plant-based diet for health reasons and for the environment because it's good for people to be healthy and it's good for us to save the environment. But also that does help the animal rights movement. But my job is as an animal rights activist, which means talking about what animals deserve, what they're being put through, and how we can change that and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I understand that fully. I'm just more on the side of leading the argument in environment because I think that that's a faster way, if you can prove it by evidence, to achieve the goal of making the meat industry illegal.
Maybe so.
You know what I mean?
Like you might be right, you might not, but either way, the thing is that like I don't want people to just stop eating animals. I want people to become anti-speciesists as much as possible. I want as many people as possible to care about animal rights, because this isn't just about the meat, dairy, and egg industry. This isn't just about food. This is also about leather and fur and wool and circuses and zoos and experimentation and stuff like this. So I need people to learn about animal rights as soon as possible. And I think the best, it's true, like what you're saying, that some people, like, I don't know if you said this, but it's true, though, that some people will go plant-based for their health, and in doing so, will research about, a vegan diet, and then stumble across a slaughterhouse video, and be horrified and outraged, and become a true vegan, and then an animal rights activist. That's possible, and it happens a lot, actually, but nevertheless, we need to be promoting animal rights messages and exposing slaughterhouses and things like that is my goal and my specialty. And I think it will accomplish the job sooner. But I think I think probably the best approach is a combination of the two, which is what's already happening. So, like, most of my advocacy is about animal rights, but I also talk about the health benefits of a plant-based diet and the environmental benefits of plant farming over animal farming. I talk about that stuff often, but not as much as the animal rights message. And but there are other people, like environmentalists, who are talking like much more about how animal agriculture is bad for the environment. And then there's plant-based athletes and stuff who are doing the work that you're wanting of people promoting plant-based foods for your health. So they're already doing that, but this is my style over here.
In psychology and neuroscience, it's harder to prove, how sentient other beings are besides humans.
I think there may be some gray area in there, like what you're saying, and definitely some variation between different species, like there's going to be a lot of a difference between an ant and a pig, and between a pig and a human, there's going to be differences all over the place, but there's some really important similarities that I think we can establish and respect, and we can verify this using the scientific method of empirical research and evaluation and studies and meta-analysis of animal behavior and sentience, brain anatomy and biology and functioning, and fMRIs to see like when certain areas of an animal's brain lights up under certain situations or during certain activities, just like a human's does, right? And clearly, I mean, we could see a dog wag their tail when they're happy and try to escape and cower when they're scared or in pain, So I don't think it's as difficult to read animals as we think. So I think a lot of times people will say stuff like that to try to excuse their behavior of killing animals. Like I just posted in Stage 1 text from livescience.com. There's an article that says, after 2,500 studies, it's time to declare animal sentience proven. So there's plenty of science that backs all this up. That's just one article that has like 2,500 studies, but I can post more. So people can say all that stuff all they want, but like we know that that the scientific consensus is that animals are sentient. They are conscious beings who care how they're treated, and for anyone to ignore that is to live in denial, and we simply won't allow it.
All right, thank you, and keep on the good work.
Okay, thanks. Have a good day.
Particular, who is just very, very frustrating. I gave her the reasons for being vegan, the animals, the environment, the humans, and she just kept saying, "Oh, I don't care about that. Oh, I don't care. It's not my problem. Hey, look at me. I'm eating chicken nuggets. Does that make you mad?"
Ooh.
Yeah.
Dang. Well, yeah, just don't go near her or disrupt her every chance you get. if your politeness doesn't work, then take it up a notch, I'd say. Either disengage entirely so that, because sometimes you don't want to waste your energy on somebody who's closed-minded if you're actually trying to win that person over. Don't worry about them because they might change, like I used to make fun of vegans and now look at me, right? So that happens, but at the same time, it might take years or decades for this person to change, whereas I think you should probably be aiming at the low-hanging fruit, right? People who are more open-minded,
Yeah, I did convince one of the girls in my class to go vegetarian, and she's gonna work up to being vegan.
Okay, that's progress.
And
Yeah, just keep holding her feet to the fire and saying like, be consistent because the animals in the egg and milk industry are tortured and killed as well.
yeah, that's what I keep telling her.
Okay. Well, some people are stronger than others, and it sounds like you're a strong person, and maybe that'll rub off on your friends, Like, the more you educate and motivate them, it can help them to mature sooner and get educated so they can make an informed decision about what's actually going on instead of just following the crowd, doing what,
Yeah.
what the TV tells you and what your parents did and what your friends and the commercials and all the restaurants and grocery stores are telling you to do. So, like, so I think you'll be a good example on your friends. But you could also like if this chick is like giving you a hard time though, like stand up for yourself and stand up for the animals, and you don't have to take any shit from her. Like you can
No, of
you
course.
can let her know that she's abusing animals, and you can like hold her accountable in front of other people,
Yeah.
even like and
Like
maybe
several times she has gone up to me and said, "Hey, you want my ham sandwich?" Or like, "Hey, you want this animal product?" And I say, "No, thank you. I don't like to eat the flesh of that animal." And like anyone else around me who hears that, I feel like it makes them think about what they're doing.
yeah, for sure.
Hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. You might be surprised at how many people you're reaching when you do that stuff. So you can have like a tab open on your internet browser on your phone that's a YouTube video ready to play whenever you want, right? That is a pig screaming in a gas chamber, right? I'll
That's a
send you
really
the
good idea.
yeah, I'll send you the
I
link.
think I
And
have one of those
anytime
saved
anytime she starts
in like
yapping
my
her
weekend folder.
yeah, anytime she starts yapping her mouth about how much she loves dead animals, you can play that and freak her out, and that'll probably get her to leave the room, and it'll probably make her look like a bad person in front of anybody who's watching that interaction. So, or any slaughterhouse
Oh,
video, you can, if it's not appropriate to actually play pig screams at her when she starts talking shit, you can like still pull up your phone and that video, like a video of a slaughterhouse, right? And be like, here, watch this slaughterhouse
yeah.
video. And if she says anything, just keep repeating that. Watch this slaughterhouse video. If she, and make her leave the room. Watch this slaughterhouse video. And once she leaves,
Yeah.
then turn to the audience, the people who were watching, your other friends, and be like, do you guys want to watch this slaughterhouse video so you can see how these animals are really treated? Because like the way this girl is defending animal abuse is absurd, and like you guys should know what's going on. So don't pressure them too much, but you could be like, if you don't want to watch it right now, I'll send it to you in a message, and you can check it out later on your own time. But like that kind of thing. So I'm gonna send you in stage 1 text 2 resources for that. So the first thing will be the slaughter video. So this is a video I made. It's only 12 minutes long. It has 800,000 views and like 20,000 comments. And
oh wow,
yeah, it's really cool. It made a lot of people go vegan and become activists. And so this goes through what happens to pigs, and then birds like chickens and turkeys, and then cows, and then fish. So it's like 4 minutes, 4 minutes for each animal kind of thing, and shows like how they're raised in the farms and then transported to the slaughterhouse and then slaughtered. So it kind of starts when they're babies and then takes you through their short life up to slaughter. One option would be the vegan meats. We got vegan chicken nuggets, vegan sausage, vegan ground beef, vegan.
Yeah, actually, I did convince my father to like get more vegan meat options, but he keeps going on about how like I think I'm better than him or how I'm manipulating him, which I don't think is really fair.
Yeah, that's not cool.
He raised a child who could think for themselves.
Oh, burn. Well, get him on the server. I'll talk to him. But it sounds like he's just defensive and stuff. But if you want, you can show him, like somebody else I think was talking about, like if of talking about the environment or the health instead of the animal rights. If this person is like super defensive about animal rights, like a lot of people are, because they're scared of being, like told that they're like torturing baby animals and that they should cut it out. Instead, if you talk about it from the environment perspective, like, Dad, like, I love you and I've got this, a climate to care about. Like I want to, enjoy my future, make sure we're good to the environment, and there's a climate crisis and stuff. And here's some statistics about how plant agriculture is better for the environment than raising animals. Or, look, Dad, I want to be healthy, so I saw these studies about how a vegan diet is better for your health, unless you're just eating Oreos and lettuce all day. But like, as long as you're eating a well-balanced vegan diet, it's better for your body because it doesn't have any cholesterol, which vegans have way lower risk of heart disease.
Who
And
does have a problem with cholesterol? You know that.
okay, cool. So hit him from that angle then, So like talk about do your research and learn about cholesterol and heart disease and animal products and bring that to him and tell him, look, Dad, I just don't want heart disease. She's an excusitarian. Doesn't like hearing about this stuff either, but they got no problem paying people to do this stuff to animals. And so it's like, if it's not good enough for your eyes, why is it good enough for your stomach? Like Gary Yourofsky said. So people just like have cognitive dissonance. In psychology, cognitive dissonance is where you're conflicted, you're being hypocritical, you're not consistent, and it makes you really uncomfortable because like you're against animal cruelty, but you're paying for animal cruelty, and like you would prefer that animals not be killed so that you could have meat. And but you're not willing to take any action, and saying so. It's sad. People need to realize that they're stronger than they think. Like, you guys are smart. You can do it. You're strong. The animals desperately need your help. And we can make the world a better place, but we got to work together to do this. And yeah, that'll take some little self-sacrifice every now and then, like reading the ingredients of what you buy to make sure it doesn't have breast milk from a tortured, enslaved, murdered mother cow whose baby was stolen from her, that made her cry and scream out into the distance for the loss of her stolen child for 2 weeks, right? And then we kill that mother and feed her to our children.
Yeah.
Even the mother was like young when she was killed. Like the natural lifespan of a cow is 25 years old, but the male cows killed for steak are killed when they're 18 months old, which is just a year and a half old. And the female cows, like made for dairy, they're killed when they're like 4 years old, because they, instead of 25, 4 years old, because by that point they've been forcibly impregnated over and over, and then their baby's taken away so that we can, take their milk, steal their milk from their babies and sell it, right? And this is really taxing on the mother's body. And so we, over milk her and stuff like this. And then after doing that a few times, she can't produce any more milk or make any more babies. And so we kill her. Doctors recommend that everybody take a multivitamin every day, whether you're vegan or not, to make sure that you're getting your essential vitamins and minerals. There's, multivitamins are safe and affordable. And so do that, and you should be fine. Just make sure you're eating enough, and not not just eating enough, because like if you eat enough Oreos, that ain't healthy, but you'll be full. So yeah, just it's not hard though. Like it shouldn't be a real task of I never keep track of like how many calories am I eating in this meal and in the whole day, or like did I get enough iron or anything like that, or enough protein. I never think about that. Maybe I should a little bit more to be even more healthy. But vegans in general, like we're fine just like eating like anybody else does, and we're actually even more healthy because again we're not eating cholesterol and as much saturated fat and stuff like that. And you can also follow like vegan athletes to see what they eat in a day. Like do a YouTube search for vegan athlete, what I eat in a day, or something like that. Vegan bodybuilder, what they eat in a day.
I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for the compliment. You should follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
If people didn't breed animal only to eat, the humans will eat the planet, the entire planet. So people need to grow, and people need to eat vegetables like this and even meat. So we don't eat the planet.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Well, so the thing is, though, that it takes 16 pounds of plants to make 1 pound of beef. Because when we raise animals to turn them into meat, we have to feed those animals plants for, months and months and months. And so we're wasting a bunch of plant foods feeding these animals to get a small amount of meat or milk or eggs. So we're wasting plants by doing that. So if we didn't raise animals, we would have a bunch more plants available, because we raise and feed and kill 70 billion land animals every year. 70 billion animals every year. That's 10 times the human population. So we can already feed 10 times the human population, but we're giving that food, that plant food, to animals so we can eat the animals. So instead, we could just not breed animals into existence so that we could slaughter and eat them. Just don't breed them into existence, and we'll just use the land to grow plant foods for people, and that will save land and save plants and save animals.
Actually, I'm not vegan, but I'm a vegetarian. Means I don't eat meat, nor do I eat eggs. Just I drink milk, so I'm a non-vegan. So is it correct or wrong?
We would recommend that people not drink the breast milk of cows, because cows are exploited and harmed and killed in this process. So once the animal stops giving milk, then they're sent to the slaughterhouse, and that happens when they're young, and so their lives are taken when they're still young, and that kind of thing. And also, the milk is for the baby, not for us. And so the way that we get the milk is by taking the baby away, separating the baby from the mother, so that we can then steal that milk, and we kill the baby.
So in our country now, actually, cow killing is illegal. We don't kill cows.
Yep. So in India, what happens
yes, I am
is
from India. So cow killing
so what happens? I'm trying to tell you what happens is that the cows are shipped to other countries and then killed, because it's illegal to do in India.
So it's not a problem. No, we are not killing. The other countries are killing.
But you're breeding those animals into existence and then shipping them somewhere else to be killed. For the health reasons, like milk is really bad for your body. It's got a lot of cholesterol in there. The highest rates of osteoporosis and bone fractures are in countries where they consume the most milk. So we have no need to drink the breast milk of another species or to drink breast milk as adults. So we'll just replace one industry with another. So instead of cow milk, we'll just make plant milk. So, just get rid of one farm and replace it with a different kind of farm.
Okay.
If you're drinking milk when you don't need to, and if it causes harm or exploitation or death, then that's not vegan. But if you're drinking milk because you have to, if you're drinking cow's milk because you have to, then that's technically still vegan, because we just do the best we can.
Yeah, because I have to drink milk. I'm a kid and I want for growth I need milk.
But I'm not sure that you actually do, because you were saying you need milk for calcium, but I just tagged you in stage 1 text. There's a bunch of, I posted a picture of a bunch of vegan sources of calcium, like plant foods are full of calcium, so you don't...
Yes, actually, no, I support veganism because I hate killing animals.
Good.
Because their poor lives are taken by it.
Cool.
For no reason.
Yeah. So yeah, as far as like milk, we just recommend that you just stay away from it. We don't need that. It leads to exploitation and cruelty and death. Even if in one specific scenario it's a little better than the worst case scenario, there can still lead to other problems when we start commodifying animals and turning them and their secretions into products. So instead, I would just promote the idea that animals are not resources for us to use for those needless purposes, and just leave them alone and don't touch them.
So what to do about animals?
Just help them instead of any kind of harm. Don't hurt, don't kill, just help them as much as we can.
Yeah, I support.
Can you tell me, why should I be vegan? Convince me.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so just like humans, just like you, Animals feel pain and pleasure, and they want to live. They have a brain and a nervous system, so we know that they're conscious and sentient, just like a dog or a cat or a chimpanzee or an elephant. Pigs and cows and chickens and fish and lambs and all this, they all want to live just like we do, and we don't need to eat animals in order to be healthy, and it's actually bad for our health, and it's destroying our environment to raise animals. So for all these reasons, but especially and mainly for the animal rights, they don't want to die, and we don't need to kill them.
Good. So also my second question is, if we let all the animals from the farm free to the wild, do you think something bad will happen to the ecosystem?
Yeah, that's why we're not going to do that. So we're not going to release farmed animals into the wild. We're going to transport animals that are on farms onto animal sanctuaries. So animals in slaughterhouses, and we might even turn the slaughterhouse into an animal sanctuary, and or the farm into an animal sanctuary. And so on an animal sanctuary, the animals are rescued, and they get to live their lives happy, safe, and free with good food and veterinary care and good friends and belly rubs and all that stuff, and they get to live in safety and never get their heads cut off. So I recommend everybody in the audience watch the movie Dominion on YouTube. It's got 3 million views. It's free, and it stars Joaquin Phoenix. It's about animal rights.
So what is good? Chase of your
Aviar.
Aviar. Oh yeah, same thing I think.
Not really.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
So, meat should be legal because, I mean, that's kind of just, you can't really take away someone's rights to eat meat just because that's against your little beliefs, you know?
My little beliefs? Is that what you just said to me? Okay. It's not just my little beliefs. It's not just because I have an opinion. It's because there are victims who are being needlessly brutalized, right? So let's look at it like this. Do you support laws against kicking dogs? Like, if the dog's not attacking anybody or anything, just some guy wants to kick a dog. Should we have laws against that? We already do. Do you support that law?
No.
Okay.
Generally, no.
So you think we should be legally allowed to needlessly kick dogs?
It depends on the dog. Like, if it's a Chihuahua, I don't really like Chihuahuas. You know those dogs.
So you think it's okay? So you don't like Chihuahuas, therefore you think it's okay and should be legal to kick Chihuahuas for no reason, just for pleasure.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So why is that?
Well, because I don't like. What is that? I don't like Chihuahuas.
Okay, so if I don't like you, can I kick you? Should it be legal for me to kick
I'll
you?
kick you back.
Well, sure, but like, what if I tie you down first? You can't get back at me or whatever. Should it be legal for me to kick you?
Well, that's kidnapping.
Okay, well, remove that part of the hypothetical then. Whatever you want to do to equalize all this, do you think it's good to have laws making it illegal for humans to kick other humans when it's unwarranted?
Yes.
Okay, so it sounds like you think it's wrong to kick humans, but it's fine to kick Chihuahuas, even if the Chihuahua's just chilling. So what's the difference?
Exactly what I'm
So what's the
saying.
difference between a Chihuahua and a human that means we should have legal protection for humans, but we should change the law to make it so that we can legally kick Chihuahuas just because we enjoy it? Like, what's the difference between the human and the Chihuahua?
Chihuahuas are freaking annoying, dude.
Well, there's a lot of annoying humans, I'm sure you'd agree. Can we kick them?
Yes, because last week I actually kicked a kid because he was being annoying, so,
Okay. Okay, so you support, it sounds like you support, like, bullying little kids and little animals and stuff?
Oh, no, it wasn't a little kid.
So long as they're not being
But yeah.
annoying, but if they're being annoying, not violent, right? The kid wasn't being violent, they're just being annoying, so you kicked them?
No, he was being violent.
Oh, well, okay, well, that's...
Annoying, as I like to say.
Okay, well, I mean, that's different if it's needed for self-defense or to protect somebody else or something, but generally speaking...
Chihuahuas are violent.
Okay, I already stipulated in the hypothetical that the dog I'm talking about is not attacking anyone. They're just chilling. But you think it's okay to kick them because you don't like them, because Chihuahuas are annoying, right?
Yo, wait, hold on. One sec. Why did I get a warning for my opinion?
Probably because your opinion's lame, but, like, my question still remains, why, what is the difference between a human and a Chihuahua that makes it okay to kick Chihuahuas needlessly, but that it's wrong and should be illegal to kick humans?
Because humans can talk.
Okay, you know animals have their own language, right? Not everybody speaks your language.
Your mic just got out. I don't know what you said.
I said animals speak their own language. Not everybody speaks your language. That doesn't mean you can kick them.
So basically what you're saying is if there's a Spaniard that, I don't really understand their language, I'm not allowed to kick them?
Right, yeah. Don't kick Spaniards and don't kick dogs or pigs or anybody else. If you don't need to. If you don't need to, right?
Okay, anyway, we should probably be getting back to the discussion of if meat should be illegal.
Okay, well, yeah, sure. The point that I was making is that usually when I talk to meat eaters, see, most meat eaters are against kicking dogs because they understand that it's animal cruelty. So they're on my side on this. And then I just help them realize that, well, okay, friends, so you're against kicking dogs and you support the laws that we already have criminalizing the needless kicking of innocent dogs. And then I just asked them, do you think it would be even worse to shoot this dog in the head? Like, even if there was no pain or any fear, so it's a quick and painless death, but we kill that dog, right? Would that be worse than kicking them? And people usually agree with me that, yeah, it's worse to kill an animal than to kick an animal because, yeah, if you kick a human or an animal, because humans are animals, if you kick somebody, they're going to have a bruise, but they'll get over it, right? But if you shoot them in the head, even if it's quick and painless, no fear, no pain, their entire life is taken away from them. Their friends and family relationships destroyed, all of their continued enjoyment, the future that they had waiting for them, even if it's just basic stuff like animals and little kids enjoy, stuff like playing with their friends or eating good food, having fun in the grass, whatever, basic stuff that I wouldn't want to take from them. So I just don't understand, like, why would we do this if we don't need to, and what's the difference?
So there is this. So did you know it's actually legal to eat humans?
Okay, I don't feel like you're addressing what I'm saying though. So like most meat eaters, I'll just recap. Most meat eaters realize that it's worse to kill a dog than to kick a dog, and they also agree that it's wrong to kick a pig. And so then the logical conclusion of that is that, well, if you think it's wrong to kick a pig, then it must be worse to kill a pig, even if it's a quick and painless death, because that pig wants to live just like the dog and just like you. So that helps them realize that there's no such thing as humane slaughter, because we're killing these animals when they're children and they have their whole lives ahead of them, and they didn't mean us any harm. So why are we stabbing them?
So why are we stabbing kids or pigs?
Pigs.
We aren't stabbing pigs. I never stabbed a pig in my life.
Well, it's supply and demand. When we buy these products, we're paying somebody to stab an animal. We're paying their salary. It's like if you hire a hitman, you are also responsible for the murder.
Yeah. But I'm not eating that human.
You're eating the animal.
Yeah, correct. Good job.
Okay, but if you ate the human, it wouldn't change. The judge would still say, hey, you hired somebody to kill this person. Doesn't matter whether or not you consumed the corpse or not. You're still guilty of the murder.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. So, like, I'm glad that you came up on stage because it helps vegans look better. It helps vegans look better. It helps the animal rights movement when you and people like you come up and say things like, humans are so superior to animals that we can kick chihuahuas for fun. So that makes us look better. You look worse. You harmed your own goal.
Before you do kick me, I have one more point.
Okay, go ahead.
Before you do kick me, I have one more point. So
sure.
You're saying meat should be illegal. Eating animals should be illegal. But there's nothing about eating humans is not illegal. It's just the murder part of eating humans, or it's just the murder part of killing humans that is illegal. Legally, you are allowed to eat humans, so why would you legally not be allowed to eat animals?
Okay, I don't know if that's true about cannibalism or not, but morally speaking, and even legally,
you can look it up right now.
It's fine. It's fine. I'll assume you're telling the truth. It's fine. But yeah, like it's the same kind of thing. We're not concerned so much about meat. It's about how it got there. So we have a problem with enslaving, torturing, and killing humans and animals for this flesh. So don't do it. If you find a dead animal in the woods or a dead human, I would recommend that you like in the case of a dead animal, probably just like leave the carcass there so that other wild animals can eat it, because those animals actually need to eat meat, whereas we don't. Or you could give the animal a proper burial, or you could just, whatever, that's it. But if you want to eat that dead animal, I guess go for it, whatever. It's probably not the most respectful thing you could do to a dead body, but not as big a deal as killing, right? So, and same thing with a human body, except that, like, if you found a human body, I'd recommend, like, they probably have, like, friends and family that are looking for them, so report that shit. But if their friends and family and them, the victim, didn't care if you ate their dead body, then no big deal. Like, that's not our problem. We're concerned about the unethical treatment of people and animals.
Yeah. Sorry, my mom was yelling at me. What did you say? Yeah.
I just said basically that cannibalism ain't such a bad thing so long as it's consensual. But these animals are not consenting to having their throats slit. Go watch the movie Dominion on YouTube, or actually it's in VC2.
I already watched it.
Okay, you watched all this torture and you still don't care?
I watched it. Pretty cool.
Okay.
Me and Claudia watched it together.
Yeah, so you might be a sociopath or a psychopath if you have no empathy when watching animals be tortured for no good reason. But or maybe you've just been brainwashed into an extreme form of speciesism by our culture and your parents and your friends and the TV. You just do whatever the TV tells you. So,
yo, what's good? I just got one quick question. A girl came up here and was talking that. Let me pull up the Google real quick. That Oreos are vegan, right?
Yeah.
I went online. I found this exact same thing. I just want to ask you about this, and this is from Oreo themselves.
Okay.
According to Oreo, their infamous cookies are vegan, but not actually. Oreos have cross contact with milk, meaning that small amounts of milk have made human contact with either their cookies or equipment used to make them. So technically, isn't that you're getting contact with a milk?
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. So, so we don't worry about, like, when you read the ingredients of anything.
Well, I mean, you're not going to worry about it, but there's milk in it. Like,
well, do you want? Well, hey, buddy, do you want me to answer your question?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Then you have to listen. Okay. So
sorry.
It's all right. So when we look at like the ingredients labels, right, it'll say like what the actual ingredients are, and then at the bottom it'll say like may contain milk or nuts or was processed in a facility that also produces nuts or milk or eggs or whatever. And so we're not worried about that because that's such a minuscule amount. And we realize that we live in and that's not even guaranteeing that there's going to be cross-contamination. They're just putting that out there as a warning in case that does happen because they legally have to because of like allergies and stuff. Like if somebody's allergic to peanuts, they need to know if peanuts are manufactured in this facility because if there is even a small amount of cross-contamination, that person could get really sick. But so the basic idea is we realize that we live in a non-vegan world. We live in an imperfect world where animals and humans are needlessly exploited. And we're trying to do as much as we can for both of those victims, humans and animals, to not be exploited or harmed or killed. But in the meantime, we got to do what we got to do and work within these confines. But also, like I said, there's likely no animal products in these vegan products, even though they're manufactured in those same facilities. And even if there were animal products in the vegan products, it would be such a minuscule amount that it's really not worth it. Hold on. I'm almost done with my sentence. is that it's really
Okay.
not enough of an issue for us to be concerned about. We're aiming at more significant problems.
I got you. So like the FDA just has to. Oh my god, I'm talking to that. I'm sorry. So like the FDA has to like control that and just like say stuff was made there with milk, so there might be like a little bit of milk residue in your cookies or whatever. Technically.
Yeah, it's possible, but like I said, like
Okay,
as we
another thing
progress,
is-
just one last thing about that is that as we progress as a society towards more of a plant-based agriculture system, more of a vegan world, right? What we're going to see is more vegan products on the shelves, and then eventually there will be vegan factories making all these vegan products, or there will be such a push for it that these factories that make both vegan and non-vegan products will be like more closely regulated and like separated so that there is no possibility of cross-contamination.
Right. I'm not vegan, but I have like questions.
Okay.
Like that's one of them. Okay, so why eating like meat? What's wrong with eating meat, like the animals?
Yeah, so animals feel pain and they want to live, just like a dog and a cat, just like you and me. Cows and pigs and chickens and fish, they want to live and they feel pain, they get scared, they have good days, they enjoy hanging out with their friends and eating good food and stuff like that, and playing, getting exercise. So just like a little kid enjoys that, but they're not as smart as us, just like animals aren't as smart as us, right? Or a human adult who has a mental disability. There's people with mental disabilities to where they're not very smart and they're only as smart as like a pig. But we don't, we realize that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how smart somebody is. What matters is, like I said, they feel pain and pleasure and they want to live. So that's what matters, is that they're sentient, they're conscious, just like us. So it doesn't matter that they're not part of our species, because they didn't get to control that, right? Just like we didn't get to choose to be born humans, and nobody gets to choose to be born white or black or Hispanic or Chinese or anything. Nobody gets to choose whether to be born male or female or any of this, or gay or straight. We don't get to choose these things. These are just the bodies that we're born into, and there's nothing wrong with being different. So we feel like we should just get rid of all discrimination and be nice to everybody, if they're a conscious being who cares how they're treated, and animals fit that criteria.
That's very true. But like I've heard that animals were raised and like bred to be like killed and as like and be meat. I don't know how to really explain that.
Yeah, that's true. Like right now, our society does, like most of society contributes to this system of oppression. I used to also, for most of my life, I ate animals for 26 years. I've been vegan now for 11 years. But yeah, the idea is there's farmers and slaughterhouse workers and big CEO, the boss at a big business, and he's wearing a suit and tie, and he's making deals and selling all these products from animals. And then we got restaurants and grocery stores selling these products, and everybody's eating it and stuff. Just because we're doing it doesn't make it right. So just because we are breeding animals for the purpose of food doesn't make that okay, because the animals don't want to become our food. They want to live as long as they can and have a nice, happy, safe life with their friends. But we kill them when they're very, very young. We kill them when they're just children. As soon as they get big enough, that's when we kill them. There were times in our society where we were doing really bad things to humans, but that doesn't make it okay. Like, there was a system of slavery where we were enslaving humans and treating humans the way we treat animals in a lot of ways, right? Making them do work against their will for no pay, and they couldn't leave. Like, terrible things to do to a human or to an animal, and whipping them and stuff. And this is what society was doing, and most people agreed with it. But then some activists started standing up against it and saying it doesn't matter that this is what we're doing. We shouldn't be doing this. We need to fix this problem and improve our society. And people started listening to them, and they got enough people to join them that they won, even though not everybody joined them. Not everybody agreed or cared about, equal rights for all people. And so, but the activists won anyways, and that's what we're trying to do. So if you actually had to eat animals in order to survive and be healthy, like if you didn't have access to plant foods, then you're not our target audience. You're not. We don't want to make people feel bad if they're in a desperate situation and they're just trying to stay alive. But most of us in the world can go vegan, and so we should go vegan. In fact, we must go vegan, right? Because the animals really need our help, and they did nothing to deserve being treated with violence. These are babies and their mothers, and we cut their heads off just because we like the taste of their dead bodies, and it's not okay. And we wouldn't do this to dogs or cats, and we wouldn't want it done to us, and we don't need to do it to them. So, a lot of people only just think that they can't be vegan, but actually they can. There's vegan activists in Mexico, Asia, Africa, all over the world. There are people fighting for the rights of animals and choosing to eat plants instead of dead animals. So, but again, if you can't do it, then we understand, but I think you can. Most of the time, most people can. Okay, well, thank you for the conversation, and just keep thinking about the animals because they need your help, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
See ya.
On any given day, what is in your fridge and pantry?
Okay, so I've got right now, let's see, sometimes there'll be some lasagna that's got like vegan ground beef and vegan mozzarella and vegan parmesan. That's probably my favorite right now, at least. Then I got vegan burgers like the Beyond Burger. I got rice and beans, like refried beans or black beans, and potatoes cut up into little cubes to make burritos. I got vegan ground beef with taco seasoning to make burritos. Burritos, throw some guacamole and some salsa, some lettuce maybe. I could throw some vegan cheese on there if I want. I've got a vegan chili with ground beef and beans and corn. Super good. I got vegan chicken nuggets, like spicy buffalo chicken nuggets, breaded, you know. You just throw them in the air fryer. Super good. I got vegan sausage to go in a spaghetti or vegan meatballs. Got vegan turkey slices. Vegan, let's see what else. A vegan turkey roast with gravy for mashed potatoes. Lots of different kinds of vegan turkey out there. Vegan ice cream. There's a lot of different brands. Even Ben & Jerry's has a lot of different vegan ice cream now. I like this brand called Oatly. Oatly makes vegan milk and vegan ice cream. And they got this vegan fudge brownie ice cream. So good. Oh. But anyways, so yeah, there's lots of stuff, you know. Rice, pasta, fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, beans, bread, and then all those, anything you normally eat, we have a vegan version of it. Some are better than others, so if you try one brand that's not so good, try a different brand next time of that same kind of thing. We're still working on steak. I think like we have really realistic vegan burgers and vegan chicken, but vegan steak is something we're still working on.
You need
it's out there.
Vegan like seitan steak.
Yeah, there's that, or like these vegan cube steaks from Gardein. Like they're just little cubes, little like one bite, and they're really good. But you can tell the difference between that and an actual steak. But they're still really good. So who cares, right?
Right. So it sounds like you have a lot of mock meats.
Yeah, for sure. But also tofu. But I could do with Yeah, but I could happily live without all that stuff too. Like if all I had available was actual plant foods like rice, pasta,
like
I'd still do it.
Rice,
yeah,
beans, veggies.
yeah, that would still be really delicious and nutritious. You know that it's all about the sauce and the seasoning. You know, so make an Asian stir fry with some teriyaki sauce. That's vegan. Throw a bunch of rice and
yeah, I've made a lot of tofu stir fries.
Yeah, yeah. And Mexican food is really easy to do also. And of course you got pastas with, whatever kind of sauce you want. If you do a like marinara, like a red sauce, or you could just do like olive oil and don't do Alfredo though, the white sauce, because that's got milk in it, unless you can find a vegan Alfredo. But if there's not a vegan Alfredo yet, there will be soon. That's the thing. Like, some of us have to suffer just a little bit, you know, in the beginnings of a movement to like really get the ball rolling. But soon, you know, and like they keep making new vegan products left and right, you know. So give it no time at all. Like, we've already got vegan Parmesan. My dad was like, "Oh, they'll make vegan Parmesan soon," and then my mom came home from the grocery store and was like, "Vegan Parmesan, look."
So I've been listening to you guys for about 4 days, and I've always been a meat eater, veggie eater, not sure the proper name. And I've been really curious about what you guys doing. Is there like any website or a document you guys have where I could really learn more about your philosophy and your perspective and all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, you know, a moderator can give you the Veg Curious role. So I don't know if any of them are listening right now, but you can reach out to a mod and ask them to give you the Veg Curious role. Anybody can do that if you're listening. The Veg Curious role will open up more channels in this server for people who are more interested. And so, like a Help Me Go Vegan chat where you can ask somebody who's there to like give you recipes, or you know, where to shop, or documentaries to watch, books to read, stuff like that. So yeah, I would say get the Veg Curious role and check that out. You can follow me on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. You can just, you know, follow famous like vegan YouTubers would be a good thing to do to really get immersed in all of this. So there's a couple of YouTubers like Joey Carbstrong. So Joey Carbstrong, and then Earthling Ed. Earthling.
I'm going on YouTube right now to look those up.
Okay, cool. Earthling Ed. Yeah, Earthling Ed is like super polite and eloquent. Joey Carbstrong is a little more aggressive, not too bad, but you know, a little more like, you know, using graphic language about, you know, pigs in gas chambers and stuff like that. Both of these activists will give speeches in front of classrooms, or they'll go do outreach in public on the street. Like, they'll set up a table that says, you know, meat is murder, change my mind, or you should be vegan, change my mind, stuff like that. And so really cool videos from Earthling Ed and Joey Carbstrong. I've got my YouTube, just type in my name. It's more of like protests, so really dramatic stuff. You'll also see slaughterhouse investigations and animal rescues and happy animal videos and vegan music and stuff like that on my YouTube. More activist-centered, teaching activists how to do stuff, that kind of thing. And then there's movies like Dominion, and there's a speech by Gary Yourofsky on YouTube called The Best Speech You Will Ever Hear that has 4 million views from 2010. Which was really good.
How do you spell Dominion, by the way?
I'll post I'll post all of this in stage 1 text right now. Another movie about the environment is Cowspiracy and Seaspiracy. Like conspiracy, but with a cow, or a sea, like the sea, like the ocean. So Cowspiracy and Seaspiracy. They were both on Netflix. Seaspiracy is still available on Netflix. Cowspiracy is a little bit older, so I'm not sure if it's still on Netflix. And then here's a movie on Netflix about vegan athletes called The Game Changers. And here's the full free movie on YouTube, though. So you can watch it either on Netflix or YouTube, The Game Changers. There's a guy you should check out called Mike the Vegan. So that's just M-I-C, the Vegan.
On YouTube, or should I Google it?
Yeah, on YouTube. Mike, M-I-C, Mike the Vegan. And
I found him.
Yeah, he's a really popular YouTuber, and he's got a lot of videos. He focuses he's vegan for the animals, but he's focuses on the health and the environment. Somebody could say, oh, well, it helps me to abuse somebody because I get pleasure out of it. Like I could abuse a child and get pleasure out of it, and so that's good for me. But ultimately, just because you get some kind of base pleasure out of that doesn't mean that that's actually good for you, because for one, it puts you at risk with the law, or the kid's family might come get vengeance on you for beating up the kid, or it also like prevents you from thinking critically. Acting and believing in this way prevents you from thinking and behaving in a critical and compassionate manner, which I think holds you back, because then you're behaving in an irrational and violent manner, and you wouldn't want people to behave that way towards you. So why do it towards others? So stuff like that. But so what I would say is that actually being nice to animals is what is in our best interest. It helps our environment, it helps our health, it helps the animals, and it helps us to realize that we should not needlessly oppress those who are at our mercy. We should not abuse the power we hold over the weak and just, take advantage of them. And so that helps us evolve in our character as moral and rational beings. So there are benefits to us from being nice to animals. But even if there weren't all those things, we should do it anyways, because it's not all about us. It's about helping others also, right? Like you have the right to enjoy your life, but when you start needlessly victimizing others, that's where we draw the line. And so you don't have the right to, you don't have the freedom to unnecessarily infringe upon the rights of others and the freedoms of others and cause them harm. I also posted a video on my YouTube in Stage 1 text called Happy Animals. Happy Animals is a really fun video I made that's just like cows and pigs and chickens, like playing in a field or playing with a ball, hanging out with kids, getting hugs, just enjoying their lives. And it has a really fun soundtrack, so it's a really fun video, Happy Animals. And then I'll post another one here called Slaughterhouse Worker Goes Vegan, because I think it's important to realize that people can change, and that we shouldn't underestimate ourselves and each other. So here's Slaughterhouse Worker Goes Vegan. But yeah, so I'm going to bring somebody else on, but talk to us again soon, all right?
Yeah, I appreciate everything. Thank you, sir.
All right, cheers.
So I do think that being illegal at some point could work, but if it went illegal right now, I think it would be like prohibition, and people would be like slaughtering animals on the down low and importing meat somehow.
That's a good point. Yeah, I think you might have validity to that thought. Of course, it's not going to happen overnight. We're not going to ban meat worldwide overnight, though that's what the animals deserve. That should happen. And if we could make that happen, we would and we should. But that would lead to a lot of practical problems like what you're talking about, and like maybe economic collapse or something. I'm sure we'd be creative enough to figure out a solution to the problem, but it's not going to happen like that, so we don't have to worry about that. Yeah, it's going to be a gradual progression over the next 10, 20, 30 years. It'll start by banning meat and dairy and eggs, shutting down slaughterhouses in certain small progressive cities, and then other cities will join, and then bigger cities will, pass a law supporting an animal bill of rights, and then another big city, and then a whole state will do it, and then other states will do it, and then we'll pass a federal law. And then other countries will do it.
Makes sense.
Stuff like that, yeah.
Exactly.
Some people like hunters, especially, because we're going to be just, as this gradual progression changes or occurs, there's going to be changes in the product line. So, like Burger King said that by 2031, just 10 years from now, half of their menu, 50% of their menu is going to be plant-based. It's going to be vegan, right? They're doing it for the environment, not for the animals, but that's still really helpful. And other companies are doing the same kind of thing, right? So, and some companies are switching full vegan just right away, right? So that just creates more vegan burgers and vegan chicken nuggets that are available at all the restaurants. And so people get used to eating that. They'll like it. It tastes good. But there's some people like hunters and stuff who get a thrill, not just from the product, but through the killing. They like to go stalk an animal in the woods and put a bullet in their head or their heart. And they get a thrill from that, like an adrenaline rush, and then they get to eat the meat that they also like in eating, But so those people, some of them, yes, I think they will try to still get away with killing and eating animals by like hunting them. But the thing is they're gonna be risking the getting in trouble with the law, because by then it's gonna hunting will be illegal, and so they'll face a fine or jail time for animal cruelty, just like you would for shooting a dog.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I know this guy came on here and he was talking about he wouldn't care about if he kicked a chihuahua.
Yeah.
And you said stuff like that makes vegans look better. And I understand that, but some people like, genuinely have mental issues. Now, but then again, I know he's probably not trying to work through them, but some people I would have honestly sometimes I think like that. I don't go out and kick dogs, but I actually am trying to go vegan so I learn that so I can learn to empathize with animals.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, it kind of hurt me when you said that, because that's kind of how I think. I'm trying to break through that thinking, but I kind of related to what he said.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Like some people are genuine psychopaths or sociopaths.
I'm not like a sociopath, but I still have that same thought process.
Yeah,
of many factors.
Sure, for whatever reason, like sometimes we have selective compassion where we'll be really nice to our friends and families, but mean to a certain race of people or to certain animals. And a lot of it's just the way we were raised. So we were raised in a speciesist culture that taught us to ignore the suffering and needs and desires of cows, pigs, and chickens, right? So that might have something to do with it. But in any case, like that guy was giving me a hard time though, and you're not. So I think there's a little bit of a different situation. I understand. I didn't mean to hurt anybody's feelings. I had to kind of fight back against that guy is the thing. But yeah, if you have an actual mental condition where you lack empathy, that's not your fault. But that's also not a justification to hurt anybody. So there are a lot of people.
I understand.
Yeah.
I think it's more of how I was raised, not really. But I really Also, I don't know who you mentioned, the psychopath who still learns to pretend to have empathy and stuff.
Yeah.
I just have two questions. Also, fair warning, I'm not educated at all on veganism, so if I say something really rude, I am so sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, so my first question, so invasive species, right, they're most of them are detrimental to the environment. How do you feel about those being killed because they're just harming the environment?
Okay, good question. So one thing to keep in mind is that the animal that is doing the most environmental devastation is humans, and yet we don't resort to violence to solve that problem. We don't just start killing each other. So we need to use peace and creativity to find solutions to our problems. So if it's true that an animal or group of animals are invasive or whatever, which I don't even know what that means, because they just live on Earth like we do. We're an invasive species. But again, so if they were destroying the area and making it really hard for other wild animals to find food or survive or something, or if there was a plague of locusts or something, and they were eating up all of the plant foods, and it just depends on the situation. Basically, a lot of times hunters will say, oh, this is an invasive species, just so that they get the right to hunt them, right? Because they want to be able to hunt and not be judged, and so they say, oh, well, it's an invasive species, get off my ass. But oftentimes it's actually not. Or we could use non-violent methods, right? So there's other things we could, if it's actually a problem, we could, let's see, how about we separate, we could put up giant fences, for acres or whatever if need be, or we could just, guide them all into a small area, fence that off, and then transport them to another area where they're, it won't be a problem for them to be. Or we could sterilize some of them so that they can't have babies. If they're reproducing at a rapid rate and taking over an area or something, we could give them birth control in their food, or even shoot them with a dart that has a tranquilizer, or that has a sterilizer in it or something. And don't do that to all of them, but just to some of the herd, so that they don't go extinct, but they also don't overpopulate, things like this. Yeah, so we could build animal sanctuaries out in the wild. If we can't relocate them, we can build a sanctuary for them and take care of them or whatever. So there's a lot of different options out there, but we just have to have the actual motivation to look into that and to care about it. But right now, people don't even care about like stabbing pigs for bacon that they don't need to eat. So that's our main focus.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I can't really go vegan because I kind of have to eat meat, but I like yours.
Okay, well, I want to ask about that though. But before I do, I just want to say, like, also though, like I've had a bed bug infestation a couple years ago, and I tried to just catch and release. Like scoop them all up, put them outside, that kind of thing. And I did that, and it took a while. It took like an hour, and I got like 50 of them. And then the next day, because I was getting like eaten alive in my sleep, I couldn't sleep, right? And like you deserve the right to have a good night's sleep, otherwise you'll lose your mind. Okay, so I did this, and the next day there was just as many of them. They had been like in the corners or in the cracks and stuff, and they breed really fast. Like overnight, they'll have like dozens and dozens of children that start eating you alive. Okay, so I did what I could to try to peacefully get them to stop attacking me, and it wasn't working. And so I resorted to violence and lethal violence even, and I killed all these bugs. And I wish I didn't have to, but I did. All right, and you have the right to defend yourself.
At that point, I would just throw the whole entire mattress away.
Right, I did. And yeah, and it's like, and even if, but they weren't just in the mattress; they were like in the walls and stuff, and it's like crazy. Yeah. So if a human's attacking you, you have the right to defend yourself. Again, ideally, use nonviolence, like try to talk to the person, de-escalate the situation, or run away, or put up a barrier between you and the human, or you and the animal who's attacking you, or call for help. But if you have to use violence to defend yourself, do it, right? Defend yourself using violence, but ideally just like tackle the person and hold them down if you can, right? Until the cops show up or something. But if that won't work, and they're gonna kill you, then yeah, you have the right to kill a human or an animal into self-defense. But I want to ask questions about, like, you think you need to eat animals? Why is that?
I'm just really weak, and I've tried veganism for like a year before, and I just got super, super ill, and it just didn't work. And then I started eating meat again, and I just felt a lot better.
Okay, so
I have like a lot of illnesses.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. So to the best of my knowledge, based on all the science I've seen, there's the dietitians and registered physicians and all that start saying that, as far as I can tell, there are no human illnesses or diseases that require animal products, the consumption of animal products. So my guess is that, and like we have peer-reviewed studies about that, so we want to rely on those experts and their research as opposed to anecdotal evidence, which is what you're presenting. No offense, you're just giving us one story of which isn't very strong evidence, because we don't know the details about like maybe what possible mistakes you were making. So there's things like you want to make sure you're eating enough calories so that you're not malnutrition. You got to eat, if you eat nothing but lettuce all day, that's not going to, it's vegan, but it's not going to give you enough calories and vitamins and nutrients. So you're going to be malnutritioned. If you only eat Oreos, that's vegan, but it's not good for you. If you don't take a multivitamin, doctors recommend that everybody take a multivitamin, whether you're vegan or not. Take these things every day. They're cheap and safe, and they make sure that you get all your essential vitamins and minerals. So, if you were missing out on vitamin B12 or vitamin D, then you're going to feel sluggish and stuff like this. So those are serious things, so you got to make sure you're eating enough food, well-balanced diet, and multivitamin. I would just recommend, like, look up vegan athletes and stuff like that, and what doctors are saying about veganism, and know that you should try it again and just do it with more of an intention and more knowledge and education backing you up so that you don't make any mistakes. But generally speaking, it's not like hard to go vegan. Like, it's easy. You just buy something else, beans instead of beef, that kind of thing, and we have all the same nutrients. So
animals that have like died naturally, like due to old age, what do you think about, like, is that okay to eat because they've died from natural causes? And,
yeah.
Like, they're like, okay, my time has come.
Yeah.
I guess it's okay now.
Yeah, like it wouldn't be really an issue. Like probably the most ethical thing you could do in that situation is just to like leave the dead body there so that other animals who need to eat meat could eat that dead body instead of you because you don't need to eat it. But ethically speaking, I wouldn't have a problem with you eating a dead body of an animal that you found who died naturally in the woods or whatever. I wouldn't recommend it. I think it's gross. It's maybe give them a proper burial or let other animals eat them. But what we're really concerned with is the enslavement, torture, and murder of young animals who have their whole lives ahead of them.
Mm-hmm. We were talking about like vegetarian, like turkey. What is that made out of? I'm just so curious.
Yeah.
What is that made out of?
Yeah, no, it's vegan turkey. Vegetarianism is nonsense because animals are still tortured and killed to create milk and eggs. But yeah, so vegan turkey, there's lots of different ways to make vegan meats. You can use wheat or pea protein, like from peas, or soybeans, or I don't really know. Like, there's a lot of different ways, but all I know is it tastes good.
Like, so there's like different ones. How do you define it as like turkey or chicken? Like, what's the difference between?
Oh, well, just the same way, like it tastes and feels different, and smells different.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah, try it sometimes. Good.
I'll try.
Okay, see you later.
Like, I'm a swimmer, right?
Okay.
And it takes a lot of protein and all that kind of stuff, and I want to go vegan because it breaks my heart, but
cool.
I just don't know how.
Okay, yeah, no worries. So go to stage 1 text on the left side of your screen, and I'll post some vegan athletes. So you can, do a search on YouTube for vegan nutrition or vegan athletes or even vegan swimmers and like what vegan athletes eat. Just type in on YouTube what vegan athletes eat, and you'll see a bunch of vegan athlete YouTubers posting their recipes, and this is what I eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner on Monday, and then this is what I do on Tuesday. I'll post a little meal plan for you right here in stage 1 text as well.
If you were to see someone eating meat in your house, what would you say?
I don't have my own place, but if I did have my own place, it would be a vegan house, so I would not allow anybody to bring animal products into the house. But if I lived like with roommates or something, I would, like you either try to get them to, make it a vegan house, or you just keep your room vegan and have your part of the fridge be vegan, your shelf or whatever, and you just ignore the dead bodies that are everywhere, or have a fridge in your room or something like that. But yeah, they would know my position for sure. Like, I would let them know before I even moved in or whatever that I'm an animal rights activist vegan and that I don't want to be around that, so I wouldn't be in the same room while they're cooking it or eating it. So yeah.
I understand. My other question is, what are your thoughts on like vegetarianism and all that?
Yeah, so I stopped eating animals 12 years ago, and for the first year of it, I was just vegetarian because I thought that was enough. I thought that I was doing my part to help the animals by not eating meat. And then a year later, a vegan informed me that it's all the same animals. They're all tortured and killed to make milk, dairy, or to make milk or eggs or meat. It's all the same farms, all the same slaughterhouses, tortured and killed at a very early age, totally unnecessary. So I stopped. So yeah, I stopped eating meat overnight, and then a year later I went vegan overnight, stopped eating eggs and dairy overnight. And yeah, so like, vegetarianism is good in the sense of like, if you don't know any better and you're trying to help the animals, then you're doing what you think is the right thing and it's helpful, but you're not doing it to the full extent. You're not really, if you're not educated about it, then it's not your fault. But as soon as you get educated, you have to make the change and go vegan. And if you don't, and if you just say, well, I don't eat animals, I'm a vegetarian, so don't judge me for eating milk and eggs. Well, it's like, well, you're being inconsistent and hypocritical if you're, because these animals are still being killed. So no, we will, hold vegetarians accountable for their contribution to animal cruelty.
I see. So before you mentioned that when cows are milked, they are basically tortured. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to post a video in stage 1 text. This is a 5-minute video on YouTube that has 6 million views, and it's called Dairy is Scary. Most milk comes from factory farms. And the way that works is the male bull is restrained, tied up, and masturbated so that he ejaculates sperm into a cup or whatever for the farmer. The farmer then, and that animal he's not enjoying that. Like, he doesn't want to be tied up and have humans put their hands on his genitals. And it's clear. So then the farmer takes that sperm and goes up to the female cow, who is also restrained against her will, non-consenting. This is all unconsenting. Okay, this is sexual abuse. So then the farmer will put on a giant glove that goes all the way up to his shoulder and stick his entire arm into the anus of this female cow while she's restrained, and she's trying to get away and stuff. And he does this to to manipulate her cervix, so that then he can put in a metal pole that has the bull sperm on the end of it into her vagina, like 3-foot long metal pole, and he puts that into her vagina and impregnates her. And then she's pregnant for 9 months, just like a human, and this mother gives birth to her baby. And cows are very maternal creatures, and as soon as her baby is born, the farmer takes the baby away and puts them into a veal crate if they're boys, and kills them when they're like 6 weeks old. Veal comes from the baby boys of the dairy industry. So the veal industry is the dairy industry, right? The baby boys won't produce milk, so they're a waste product to the milk industry, and that breed won't grow big enough to become a meat cow, right? There's a difference between like a steer, like a steak cow, versus a dairy cow. So the boys are just put into a veal crate from the dairy industry and killed when they're like 6 weeks old. Not allowed to move around, because if they move around, they'll get exercise and muscles will build. But we don't want their muscles to build or for them to have fun running around. We want tender baby meat, don't we? So we don't let them move around, right? So we kill and eat their babies. And then if it's a girl, we put the girl into rotation just like her mother. The girl is, as soon as she reaches like 1 year old, we forcibly impregnate her and steal her baby. When you steal a baby from a mother cow, the baby is terrified. They just want to drink their mother's milk and feed and cuddle with them, just like any other baby. This makes me so mad. So the baby is terrified and now put into a pen by themselves. And the mother is distraught and cries and screams and tries to chase after her baby who's being stolen, right? So she moans into the distance for weeks on end over the loss of her stolen child. Okay, so watch the video Dairy is Scary and you'll see all this. And then we forcibly re-impregnate the mother like 3 more times, and then she's spent. Her little body can no longer produce any more milk or make any more babies. So even though she still has like 20 years of life ahead of her, because cows live to be 25 years old unless we murder them, she's killed when she's like 4 years old. And so she's sent to slaughter. We chop her up and feed this mother to our children as ground beef.
Yes, I understand. That is kind of cruel.
Kind of.
I mean, it is cruel.
All right, that's better.
Yeah, I have one more question. So, Wagyu beef, right?
Yeah.
It's like when cows are treated better, so the quality of the meat is better.
Yeah.
Like, I remember hearing that they're killed without any pain. What are your thoughts on that?
Even if that were true, which I would highly doubt, these animals, again, are killed when they're children because it's not profitable to keep feeding them for years to let them have a nice, long, happy life. So as soon as they reach slaughter weight, which is when they are children, they are killed. And so that's a problem. But also, even if it was a quick and painless death, it's still mean to take somebody's life when they clearly want to live. If I killed you in your sleep, shot you in the head, right? No pain, no fear. But I murdered you, right? Murder is a big deal because we're taking someone's life, everything they have, their entire existence, destroying all of their friends and family relationships, all of the continued existence, the future they had waiting to be enjoyed, snuffed out simply for our own needless greed.
Mhm. Well, that was all the questions I had.
Okay, cool.
Thank you for answering. Yep.
Okay, have a good day.
You too.
Okay, I think you're talking about about lab-grown meat, where we just like extract cells from a living animal and grow a steak or whatever in a petri dish in a laboratory, and no animal is harmed or killed in the process. And yeah, so that's already happening. It's really expensive right now because it's new, but that'll become cheaper, and I'm interested to see how much of an impact that will make compared to vegan meat, like plant-based meat, right? But I think both lab-grown meat and plant-based meat are going to replace traditional animal meat that comes from slaughterhouses, and it's going to happen really soon. But yeah, so ethically, so long as you're not like torturing and killing an animal, I don't have a problem with you eating meat. I still wouldn't recommend it because it's got cholesterol, which increases your risk of heart disease and stuff. But yeah, it's not about like the product; it's about how it got there.
Okay, so you tell vegan food is nice, vegan milk is nice. So can you tell me from where I can get vegan milk and examples of vegan milk? Because I want to start getting vegan.
Vegan milk?
Yes.
I don't know what's available in your country, but generally speaking, we have coconut milk, almond milk, soy milk, oat milk, rice milk, hemp milk, so cashew milk. So there's a bunch of different plant milks out there. Hopefully you will be able to have access to some of those in your country. But remember, if you don't have access to plant milks, you still don't need to drink the breast milk of a cow. So even if you can't find vegan milk, don't drink cow's milk. You know, anytime a new product or new line of products comes onto the market, they're going to have to compete with products and companies that already exist, that are big and powerful and popular. And so it might take some time for this new product or new companies to really make headway and build up a customer base, and other restaurants and grocery stores start carrying those products and stuff like that. So it'll take a little time, but it's happening already, and it's just going to keep happening. So I'm confident in the future. The wild animals will still be doing whatever they're doing, you know, so that food chain will still be going. But it's basically just we'll eat plants instead of animals, and so there's no harm in that. We'll stop breeding animals into existence, like cows and pigs and chickens. We'll stop breeding them into existence on farms just to be slaughtered and eaten. And so I don't think that would be like destroying the food chain or anything. I just think that would be us eating something else because we don't need to eat animals. Yeah, like coexistence I think is really important, and we should try to do it as much as possible. Coexist with our fellow humans, even if we disagree with them. Coexist with other animals as best as we can. And, you know, but if somebody is trying to hurt you, you know, whether they're a human or an animal, you have the right to defend yourself, that kind of thing. But if we don't need to hurt or kill somebody, we shouldn't. So like if a mouse came into my house and started eating my food, I would try to catch and release the mouse. So I would set a trap that would not hurt them, but which would make it so that I could pick them up and put them outside.
But it will take away its food source, no? Because its food source was your house.
Well, that's my food though, and they can find food somewhere else.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, cool. See ya.
For me, I feel like meat shouldn't be illegal because that's against our rights. And also. Wait!
Don't move on to another thing. I want to respond to that real quick. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I don't think you should have the right to kick a dog. I don't think you should have the right to kill a dog. You probably agree with me on that. I don't think you should have the right. I don't think you should have the right to kick a pig, and therefore I think you should not have the right to kill a pig either.
No, what I meant is like it goes against your rights to actually buy meat that's in the store.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is we should not have the right to harm others. And when we buy those products, we're paying somebody to stab an animal. We're saying, we know you stabbed this animal for me to eat them. Please do this again to other animals, and I'll buy those products. So you're paying their salary.
Yeah, I feel like the only way would that be okay is if an animal is sick and dying.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like I had a dog who I put to sleep when he was 14 years old because he was really sick and he wasn't enjoying his life anymore. And I would want somebody to do that for me also. If I was in pain and there was no way to fix me, like a lot of pain and no way to help me, then just kill me, you know? That's nice. But that's not what's happening to animals in farms and slaughterhouses. They're killed when they're children, and they know that they're about to be killed because they can smell the blood in the slaughterhouse. They can hear the screams of their friends. They're being like pushed with a cattle prod, you know, like zapped to move forward, or hit by humans to move forward. And they can hear all these loud machines, and yeah, it's not cool. And so yeah.
Absolutely, I hate how they do that. I feel like they should make slaughterhouses. I wish they would just disappear, but even if they have to keep going, I feel like they should make them more humane.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, of course, like there's ways to make it better, or to make it less cruel. But again, it's still cruel to take someone's life, even if it's quick and painless, because they want to live just like we do, and just like dogs and cats do. And the problem is that the way big business works, capitalism, is just trying to make money, right? These companies don't care about the animals. They're just trying to make money as fast as possible, as much as possible, and they'll break the law to do that. They get in trouble sometimes, but it's not serious trouble, so they don't mind getting in trouble sometimes, you know. But a lot of times the government won't actually enforce the laws that are supposed to help animals not suffer as much. But again, the message to promote is anti-speciesism, is veganism, is animals do not deserve to be stabbed for our pleasure.
Yeah, and I saw this one thing where one big company was a breast cancer society or something, and it was promoting eating meat and eating food that would actually go against breast cancer and actually would make it worse.
Yeah, exactly. There's a movie called What the Health on Netflix.
That's the one.
Yeah, What the Health talks about that and how like these companies will do false advertising left and right just to trick people into buying their products, and it harms humans, the environment, and animals. And so there needs to be better government regulations over that stuff, but also we need to stop supporting those companies or those products.
Yeah. Well, thanks. Also, make sure to subscribe to Chase Avor. Is that how you say it? Avor?
Avior, like behavior.
Avior.
Yeah.
Avior.
Yeah, thanks.
I subscribe.
Thanks, I appreciate that. That's really nice of you. I've got a playlist on my YouTube channel called My Top 20 Videos, so check that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see you.
All right, thanks a lot. That was nice.
I'll join the group.
Okay, cool.
I was going to ask you your opinion on narcissistic vegans. Do you think vegans have the right to be rude to people who are not vegan?
Okay, good question. I think it might depend maybe on the situation. Like, generally speaking, you try to like politely educate and motivate somebody first, you know, if you're having like a one-on-one conversation. And that's usually that's the smartest approach, instead of just walking up to some random person and, you know, like calling them an animal abuser or whatever, you know. But if the person doesn't respond well, like if they ignore you or make fun of you when you're trying to be polite, or they won't watch the slaughterhouse videos to see the truth, the evidence of what is happening, then that's a problem, and I'd try to like raise the stakes at that point. Maybe I'd either disengage and be like, this person isn't receptive, so I'm not going to waste my time on them. I'm going to talk to somebody who's more open-minded, or I would like try to make that person really uncomfortable with their speciesism, because you should not be comfortable hurting animals. And so I would make them uncomfortable and maybe humiliate them in front of other people, stuff like that. So there's something to be said about, you know, how to deal with a troll and things. but generally speaking, be nice. But when we do these protests, that's like a different environment. That's a different scenario. So we still want to be like love-based in these protests, but it's totally appropriate, even in a one-on-one conversation, but especially in a protest, to express anger. Anger is a powerful motivator, and it's totally called for in this circumstance because little baby animals are being stabbed in the throat by selfish humans for no good reason, and that's a problem. But we want to, like, during a protest, so I'll go inside of a restaurant covered in blood and fake blood and yelling on a megaphone and standing up on a table and screaming about animal rights and stuff, but I don't go in and like yell at people. I yell in front of them, and there's a difference, right? So instead of yelling at somebody and being like, "You're a terrible person, you're killing animals," I go, "Look, these animals, they don't want to die. They're just like dogs and cats. They feel pain and pleasure just like us. They want to live. The animals really need your help, and this is totally unacceptable for us to be cutting their little heads off," right? So that's controversial and in-your-face kind of activism. And it will still, even though it's love-based and not directed at individuals, people will still get mad about that, right? But I don't care. Protesting draws attention to the issue, communicates the severity of the problem, and empowers people to take collective action. So so it can be seen. Hold on. So when we do a disruption, a protest, it can be seen as rude. And maybe it kind of is, but that's like irrelevant because it's getting the job done, and the real victims are the animals who are being stabbed, not the people who have to listen to us talking about the fact that they're paying for animals to be stabbed. During the civil rights movement, Martin Luther King was arrested 27 times for protesting against racial segregation, and a lot of white racists hated Martin Luther King for protesting for equality. So I don't really care what the haters say. Let them hate, because I'm getting the job done in the process.
Yeah, that vegan teacher is actually the reason I got interested into veganism. A lot of people say that they hate her, but like, she like genuinely was. I was genuinely like, wait a second, like, cause I just found out like vegetarians weren't like that kind of people. I didn't find out, but like I found out from the server that like vegetarians, cause I thought being vegetarian was like really good, and like for a while I was planning on being vegetarian. Because of the fact that I thought it was good, and it was fun to, like, it's kind of fun to learn more about it, even though, like, I still don't know what lentils are.
Yeah, just look up a picture of lentils. They're good. They're good. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, but I just wanted to say about vegetarians, like, some of them, like, they are good people. Some of them, they don't know that animals are tortured and killed to make milk and eggs, and so they're doing their part. They're doing what they can, what they think they should be doing, which is to not eat animals. So we just need to educate them about the other cruelty for those other products. But some vegetarians are like, "Oh, I don't eat meat, so don't judge me. Like, don't push me, you crazy vegan. Veganism's extreme. I'm still gonna eat cheese and eggs." It's like, dude, you're torturing and killing animals, and you say you're against that, so there's a problem. I think you can do it. Just do some more research about all the different foods that are out there, and make it happen, because the animals need your help. Thanks everybody for listening. It was nice talking to you. Watch the movie Dominion on YouTube, starring Joaquin Phoenix. And you can also follow me on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. And we'll see you later. Love yourself and each other and the animals.